Hi, my name is Tong. I used to work at the Zcash project on applied cryptography, zero knowledge proofs. Since then, I've worked with geometry, and right now I'm an independent researcher. Right now I'm interested in multi-party computation. I think I'm not degen at all. And I think like being punk is about caring and it's about talking to people. So I'm fully on the cipher. Well, yeah, let's define those terms later maybe. I identify more as with the cypherpunk side. From cypherpunk to degen, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Alan. I'm a contributor to the Railgun Privacy Project. It's a really cool privacy thing on Ethereum. Allows you to do cool private DeFi stuff. If that is a spectrum that can be defined, I would say that I am a recovering shitcoiner. I mean, that's kind of how I got started in 2017 originally. My background's in finance, and so I was just after a lot of beta. I wanted a lot of move in a chart and look no further than the ICO craze of 2017 and DeFi summer and all that stuff. I think what made me like woefully aware of that was being in like different like Telegram groups where people were, sharing alpha and things like this, right? And what made me really super aware of like the privacy problem in crypto was someone DMing me out of a Telegram group I was in and saying, "Hey, how did you get into shitcoin X?" I'm like, "Man, how did you know that?" And he kind of walked me through like how these kind of things work. He gave me my Etherscan link, and at that point, I was like, "Man, damn, this is a huge issue." And that was 2020, and now I've been rallying to the dark side, the light side ever since.
Thanks, Alan. Hi, everybody. My name is Shady. I'm one of the co-founders of Holonym. My interests are primarily in, actually, I'm a recovering academic and shitcoiner. I started off really interested in doing my PhD and thinking about how do we have better patient privacy data rights, which led to some of the work that we're doing with ZK identity and MPC networks for key management and derivation. So in terms of, I think on the degen spectrum, do you guys know degen score? Does anyone? Yeah, I was, degen score, I think RIP, I don't think it exists anymore. They took it down. I think I was like 80th percentile or something. So
pretty degen.
It's pretty degen because the tails of the distribution are very, very wide. It's not a normal distribution. Yeah, so invested in yams, invested in dick butts, invested in all sorts of stuff. And I've mostly lost money. The most amount of money I've lost was shorting WorldCoin. I got wiped out.
Unsuccessful degen.
I mean, it's a down-only token. Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't understand. On the Cypherpunk side, I would say I'm an Apple user. Yeah. That's all I can say. I'm sorry.
I'm Luis. I work with a company called BrainBot on Shatter Network, which is a threshold encryption DKG, so encryption decryption mechanism for commit reveal schemes, especially sort of against censorship resistance, against front running, and also we encrypt DAO votes, so with it integrated into Snapshot, and live on Gnosis chain in this MEV and censorship resistance encrypted mempool form. Yeah, similar to some of the others here, I'm somewhere in between. So I don't consider myself as the GM degen, I would say, that type of degen. But if you maybe there's two groups, there's two aspects to it. I don't like the gambling aspect of it, so I hope I'm not a gambler kind of, but I consider myself a gamer. So like on this playful like gaming aspect, I like that. So I think, and that's super important for crypto. I think the playfulness, gaming, that's better than the gambling side of it, yeah.
Hi, my name is Manu, and I've been contributing to the space since the DAO. I've been, let's say, exploring a lot of privacy-preserving tools since we have been organizing a community called the Blockravers, where we experiment a lot with trust and, let's say, with reputation. And yeah, sadly, we currently don't have the tools for doing what we're thinking that It should be, let's say, like a way of having a social graph that is completely private and that is permission-based and that you basically can remove access and so on. So yeah, super interested in the privacy space. And also I've been an activist back in Venezuela. I'm originally from Venezuela and I have been using tools since I'm like 15 years old just to try to, let's say, coordinate with friends and come out in the streets in Venezuela and organize some riots there and, let's say, expressing ourselves when it comes to, let's say, the weight of expressing and also the private property and all of that.
Hello everyone, I'm PG, core at Web Privacy now since, let's say, day 2. I came into crypto Web3 fascinated by the social political aspect of it. So I came in for the values, I stayed for the values. And actually, trying to turning that Degen perspective, the Degen approach into something more like, true to the founding values of this movement is something that I really care about, we really care about. And before that, I've organized some privacy hackathons and conferences throughout Europe, like ETH Rome. We created a community in our country that nothing was there before, as well as ETH DAM, contributing to several DAOs. And I actually experienced that a lot of people that join the space doesn't have the time or the fortune to get into reading some document or to understand what is the real history or are the founding values of this movement. And some of them, when they got into it, they got really fascinated by them. So I think we didn't be enough kind of good or clear or open or welcoming enough these newcomers to understand what all this is about, the values, yeah. Yeah, I don't want to take much time, but I have a lot to say about this because it's really close to my heart, and I'm very happy about what today has happened.
Nice. So I think it sounds like we have a very wide range of people on the spectrum. So I forgot to introduce myself, but I'm Josh Davila. I have a podcast called Blockchain Socialist. And it's very funny because the reason that I got into crypto was because, and I think this is relevant, is that I was broke when I got out of college.
Me too.
And so, yeah, so I think, and so like I remember, if I think back about that time, I mean, I was broke throughout college, before college, and then a bit after college. But crypto was like this kind of potential key to moving out of the abyss of poverty. And I remember like trying to, like thinking about like this Ethereum thing and like if I bought some money a little bit, then maybe in like 10 years I'll finally be able to like pay off my student loan debt. So like one of the things that I think is probably true of probably most people we would I guess broadly define as degens or people who like to trade stupid tokens to make a lot of money on. Is probably that a lot of them come from a place of like socioeconomic anxiety or a place of like having particular economic conditions in which it incentivizes them to make as much money as possible, as quickly as possible, because that's what like everything is telling them to do. Not much is telling them to be a cypherpunk and advocate for privacy, because that's hard and that's potentially very dangerous. So I'm curious if anybody has any thoughts. So I'm just gonna ask questions, and then whoever wants to answer them, because I also don't want to do it like, one. That's a really boring panel.
Freestyle.
Yeah, so I guess for me, I'm curious if anyone has any thoughts about like the socioeconomic conditions that creates a degen, and how do we pull that out?
I absolutely agree. I do not think like making money, making profit is opposed in opposition to being a cypherpunk at all. And so my former colleague, Dara Hopwood, always used to tell us like, basically in order to have privacy, you need financial privacy, because in order to exist as a citizen, in order to make purchases, like get a mortgage, take out a loan, access like all kinds of financial services, you need financial privacy, and that is even more true for marginalized people, like disadvantaged people. And I think financial services includes like the ability to invest, the ability to make yield, take out loans. And I think like the privacy aspect of it, it comes in when, for example, you need to pay for an abortion in a state where it's not legal. For example, you're like a sex worker, you need to receive payments without exposing your identity. So like basically like access to financial services for people who are vulnerable, for people from marginalized groups, like I think is absolutely consistent. Like it's with Cypherpunk and Degen. I think like, yeah, there's no inconsistency in my mind.
Maybe one thing I just wanted to slip in there is that, you know, I did a video essay on this, but you know, we saw the election happened and we saw like a pretty big increase in like ethnic minorities in the US voting for Donald Trump. And I think in part this had to do with, there is potentially an argument that since crypto is actually more popular amongst ethnic minorities in the US, aka largely people who struggle more socioeconomically, they probably have more positive views about crypto. And so Trump being the crypto president for some, yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
you want to say something?
Yeah. I think I was going to say something a little bit about how, yeah, like your risk profile kind of changes with the situation you're in, right? And there's even evidence to suggest that the brain rewires itself and how it's sensitive to dopamine and risk and reward and risk-taking, and look up the marshmallow test. So it's, I think, you know, when it comes to socioeconomic, I guess like descriptors of the demographics of, let's say like the average degen, I think that's on point. I think that makes a lot of sense. Another bit there is, you know, with degens, it's kind of like an information network where, you know, you're kind of moving in this like digital herd where information is transferred, right? And then that's how you find the next thing, and you both, you know, you all collectively double down or triple down on a particular meme or idea. It's kind of this grassroots optimization. And like for many folks, it's like outsiders, right? Hear about it, and then they're pretty much pumping this, but it depends on this kind of like core nucleating group of shared values. And I think it's just really interesting actually, because in a way it provides kind of resilience because it brings people together, right? Where you can quickly coordinate around these, you know, stupid memes or whatever. But in a way, it's also kind of dangerous because all this stuff is public and on chain. So kind of like a Citadel situation where you can see which DAO is trying to buy which valuable piece of property and be able to sweep the rug out from them. So it does feel like that there's this mega cosmic push and pull of forces between, you know, these like adaptable information networks and perhaps these top-down systems that are using their transparency perhaps against them or to, you know, for their own benefit.
If I can touch it, actually, I feel that the people that are moved by the money are more difficult to kind of not educate, but just shift their attention or their need. Okay, their need is another discourse, but let's say their attention, rather than something that touched, was mentioned by Juan Bennett, Protocol Labs today, like now we have the chance to redirect funding from, you know, all these big startups, project, whatever, to people who actually care about the common good, the public good, want to, you know, enhance and uphold the civil liberties. It's not easy, of course, but we have the chance to do it, and I think that this could be a very interesting point to, you know, further investigate and push forward, because actually there is, I mean, today, if you commit for the public good, either you are Gandhi or, you know, you're not going to take a money. Like artists, like, you know, a lot of people, a lot of nice people that really care and commit, strive to pay the bills, because actually it's not on the competitive on the market, you know. If you don't do kind of job that the system recognize, you're just going to leave, you know, I don't know, doing another job or whatever. So I feel this is a very good opportunity to actually help these kind of people welcome these people that are maybe since 20, 30 years doing research, doing super nice projects, helping local communities, helping them through redirecting these funding mechanisms. Yeah.
So are you on the side of like cultivating the degen dynamics to put money into privacy-preserving technologies?
I feel that actually if we would manage to put more attention on all those projects and use cases that actually touches the real people in the real world for humanitarian causes and stuff, and you have for sure to mention something here, and you as well. For example, use of anonymous cryptocurrency during wars, where you have dictatorship, where you have hyperinflation, so real use cases. Broader communities, more people would actually get what is the real values of these technologies for the people. And it would be more easy to, take further these kind of new economics models and incentives to really do something meaningful and impactful that would be actually understood by a wider audience that maybe is committed for human rights, politics, academia, that could help. And this is, I feel, the most impactful thing that we do, like coming together, because there are a lot of small niches like human rights, internet freedom movements, open source software, hacktivism, and we don't talk to each other because of multiple reasons that I can understand, but at the end we are all shooting for the same North Star. So if we make actually this kind of ecosystem better working, we all win. And actually we use slightly different tools, but at the end we have all the same goal. So if we manage to build up like vocabularies to understand each other and to work together, I think that there we can have an impact, because otherwise we will remain in small bubbles.
So I don't know if this is like tangential or within the same vein. I'm kind of hoping it is, but I think there's something to be said that we can, as like privacy enthusiasts and activists, can learn from the like the mimetic nature of like the degen movements, right? It's kind of weird and obtuse to think about it, but Roaring Kitty did a lot for people to get interested in like finance in general, which is really quite important for like the individual, right? Like investing and being interested in like how do you save for the future and buy stocks and all of these different things, right? And so, even before that, in various wars, right? People did a lot of cartoons at the time, but ultimately were memes, right? To take and to drive a mission to get people's point across. Uncle Sam, he needs you, right? And I think that this is like a really, beautiful thing that like degen culture has really kind of tapped into. People, find ways to make like really fun memes and things like this, and you can go and look at them on Pump and bet on various zoo animals and things like this. And ultimately, this is like a form of culture that is like collecting souls, and I think it's something that privacy can sort of capture again. It certainly did early in the 90s with like various Wired magazine articles and really cool like I thought it was cool as shit anyway. Like these white masks and these like kind of like nerdy dudes like with white masks look real cool, and like punks with a cause and this sort of thing. And so like tapping into that like like mimetic movement and like kind of driving and leaning into like meme culture. I think is something that we can definitely strive for and do a bit more of in like the privacy movement. It's
kind of like we need a V for Vendetta moment, when they're all in the street and like they all like have their masks on, or you can't really tell if they really do, or if it's yeah.
I think that would be that direction is a positive direction. Yeah, I like this idea of kind of channeling the degens for sort of for the better. Yeah, and I think that one of the problems is just that I think that the easiest user experience is the investing and the gambling kind of. So we made it. I think it's actually in some ways too easy sort of now to buy some shitcoin on Binance, right? Where centralized exchanges have made it very easy, right? Whereas on the kind of operator side or on the operating kind of nodes or something like this, we haven't progressed, right? So I think originally people came to crypto because it was extremely easy to. So for example, I just downloaded this Bitcoin QT, right? Double click, boom, window. I'm not a developer, right? And I can't operate it, or couldn't at the time operate a server. So for me, it was extremely simple to just install a Windows application, let it run, mines just starts mining when you click on it, and you have the payment thing inside of it, and you have the node operation aspect also inside of it. Yeah. And then back then it was really easier to operate a Bitcoin node than it was to invest, than to sign up for like Mt. Gox, right, at the time. So yeah, I think that's kind of a good challenge to think about. How can we get back? How can we make it as easy as that? Kind of just want to highlight sort of Step Node, right? I think they're doing an extraordinary job. Also, shout out to Olas. I think is really interesting with this Perl. They have you can operate your own autonomous agent. Also, same kind of Bitcoin Qt thing where you just install it on not on a server but on your laptop essentially. Yeah, so I think that's maybe one angle to make the degen gamblers to operators kind of.
I agree with what you're saying. I think that degening is very easy, while let's say running your own servers or trying to remain private is really, really hard. Because actually, like, if you want to really, really remain private, like, there are so many points of failure across the whole board. So you have to first you have to have knowledge. And also another thing that I've realized is that most people that do really care about privacy is because they have experienced something bad when it comes to having, let's say, governments that oppress or so I think that a lot of the people that are necessarily degen that don't care about privacy is because they haven't realized the privilege that they have most of the time. So yeah, I think it's something related to first how easy it is to be a degen against how difficult it is to remain private, and also again acknowledging like the type of lifestyle or where we live and so on, and how oppressive the governments might be against us or not.
I
was just going to say one quick thing, which was I think there is a special class of degen though that's really motivated. If you guys know the Alchemist project, has anyone missed? Yeah, like with the flask and all of that. Like, to get in on it, you had to use hard hat. You had to use hard hat, generate the key. You had to like do all this stuff to stake, and if you got in early, you were doing really well. I think it was like was it a rebasing token? I can't remember.
It was actually a token that allowed you to ask for loans with over collateralized. But yeah, the way that they were giving you the loan was with a rebase token. That's correct.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah, so that's Alchemist. That one's also interesting. But Alchemist was, I don't know, like a super niche degen thing. It had like a little flask. And anyway, so what was interesting though was like how, an early community gathered around using very difficult to use tools. And I don't know what it was about that anthropological snapshot in time that led to those people doing that. It's interesting.
Yeah, I really love that point because oftentimes the most privileged, the most degen traders are the ones most invested in their privacy.
Could you repeat that, please?
The people most motivated to keep their trades private are exactly the same as the most privileged traders.
When I mean privilege, I mean privilege that nobody's going to attack you. So when these people that you're mentioning, they start caring about privacy, is because they start understanding that they have a target in their face if they don't protect themselves.
No, absolutely, yeah. So it's, for example, if you're making a huge trade, like you want to keep that private so that people don't like arbitrage you. So you use like iceberg orders. You use like a private order book. So the most privileged players that are the most sophisticated traders are trading in private.
Yeah, like the biggest blocks of stocks are traded in dark pools.
Absolutely, like dark pools. Like so, honestly, a lot of a big question for a lot of the dark pools or private trading protocols is like, who are you benefiting? And oftentimes the answer is whales. Yeah, so I think this is a really interesting point because, like, I don't know, one of the main arguments against privacy is that, it'll make it harder to like catch criminals, to detect money laundering. But if nobody had privacy, then rest assured, the people who are most motivated and most well-placed to get privacy, precisely those like sophisticated traders who are like the well-informed, who are like well-resourced. So yeah, I love that point, like the fact that if you don't have privacy by default, then you converge to this case very naturally when you only have privacy for the privileged. Yeah.
Just to add to that, yeah, I think it's very interesting that the private RPCs, right, private mempools, are actually kind of the exclusive mempools. Yeah. So it's actually kind of sad that they were able to capture that privacy wording even sort of for something that's not, that's exclusive. It's private, but it's exclusive. Yeah. So I think we need to be moving to public but encrypted. So I think public encrypted mempool is better than private exclusive, essentially. Yeah. But it's kind of sad that even the wording is captured by the So.
So I think the thing that we're getting at here is that, by and large, there is privacy, but it's privacy for capital, or privacy for those who have the means and the wealth to do so. So right now we're in a kind of like almost two-tiered system. Some people get privacy because they are in this privileged position, and most other people don't. And I think there's I think a sort of a risk here where cypherpunk means just like I can do money laundering wherever I want. But I do think, at least I have maybe a slightly different desire for cypherpunk to mean something more broad, and that it's like privacy as like the default, as he said. I think one thing to keep in mind maybe as well, I don't know if people know this, does anybody know where the term cypherpunk comes from? Or like,
Yes.
a couple of people, yeah. It comes from St. Jude, Milan. It was like, it was a woman that actually created this term. She was like one of the early software developers. And she was talking about privacy much more in the context of feminist thought around being able to, protect one's identity, to be able to access abortions whenever a woman needed it. And now, unfortunately, I think there is oftentimes this muddling of the term where now it means like, I can put my butt coin monies into, wherever I want without having to pay taxes. So like, where I'm getting to, I don't really know what question I'm getting at with this, but I guess, does anybody have any thoughts on like, because I have to disagree with like, you like trying to learn from Degens and their memes. I think that's like the wrong place to learn lessons personally, because it's it's financialized propaganda is I guess how I would see it, versus, and then like, versus like, there are many other types of propaganda, but like in particular, this is one that you make money off of, and trying to find ways to actually maybe do propaganda. I don't think it's a bad word, but like which is probably what you meant, but like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
privacy.
I don't think I was, trying to get us to make like a shitcoin or something like that. It was more to like how like, powerful memes can be ultimately to like convey a message, right? Like the distillation of like really lofty ideals is something that's really quite important, right? And if you can do that in a single image or in a hashtag or something like this, whatever it might be, right? I'm not an expert marketer, but suffice it to say, I think that like if we can like better distill the image, it could not be a bad thing.
And memes are memes are inherently democratic, right? They come from the internet, not from like top down. At least that's what I think about it. Yeah.
Maybe. So maybe, I don't know how much more time we have, actually. We're closing it down. Maybe we can do, all right, what is the best privacy meme that we should be pushing? Each one, whenever you have it, go.
I still think ZK for Vendetta, maybe. V for Vendetta. I still think that's like one of the best privacy memes.
Guy Fawkes memes.
Yeah, Guy Fawkes.
The Guy Fawkes mask, yeah, it is kind of cool, yeah.
That's a tough cookie to top, honestly. Yeah, I have to think about it.
Wait, did you write a book?
I did.
Okay, I just started reading your book. I bought it on Amazon. It's a really good book.
Thank you, thank you.
I love how like the you
Blockchain
kinda, like,
Radicals, get it whenever I have signed copies.
Yeah, buy his book. It's really good. Right on the plane here. Full part of it.
You know, I've been trying to think after you asked the question, and I think that's why we're failing, because we're not being able to like really mimify it. You ask that question, and nothing comes up to my mind. Like, what is like a super nice meme about privacy that I can give you right now?
There's many unfunny memes, right, about sort of Tornado Cash and yeah, people behind bars, kind of not really funny, but I mean that's a meme. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you brought up. I mean, there's a lot of not funny memes, right? And I think that's a totally acceptable thing to have, right? I think like mimetic culture has kind of been drowned in humor and like sort of like edgy, hyperbolic statements that are like supposed to be funny. But I don't think they have to be funny just by default. You can have like distillant that's a meme and it says something powerful that's serious.
One thing I am a little bit worried about is like what happens when KOLs start like hitting your Twitter inbox and are like, you know, we got privacy memes, like, you know, $500 for 10 packs, like let us know. So that's like, you know, kind of like the financialization of privacy memes and kind of using that to wrap other maybe disingenuous forms of the technology. Just something I worry about a little bit. But.
I think kind of related to memes is a powerful concept of metaphors. Recently, I've been finding like privacy in and of itself to not be the most meaningful framing because it's vague, because it makes no statement about use case, about the end user. So recently, I've been interested in just more specific metaphors. For instance, purpose limitation. So the sort of prevailing paradigm in a lot of privacy-preserving applications has been data minimization. So like reducing the amount of data you collect. But that does not account for the fact that after you collect the data, you can still use it for anything you want, including like, let's say like COVID contact tracing. Like you could then use, for example, in Singapore, they said like we would maybe use it to track the location of criminals. Yeah, like since we have it anyway. So like when faced with sort of a situation like that, I think what's been interesting to me is a reframing. So if you reframed it as purpose limitation, if you design your application such that you could not use the data for anything else besides the original purpose, I think that sort of frame of mind as a developer, as a designer, is way more useful. So yeah, I think, I don't know, I don't consume memes. I have a very little patience for them. But I think like, yeah, what's powerful about them is like they sort of introduce a paradigm, like a common language frame of mind. And I think metaphors have that same power too. So yeah, I think better metaphors and privacy, I think we need to do better than privacy. We need to get more specific, and we need to be talking with application developers, with designers, with users.
I love memes. We came up with this memetic warfare you can find here in the corridor. I will publish on Twitter as well. Because actually I feel that through memes you can convey deep philosophical, political, sociological concepts in a playful way, which is the same way that children communicate, which is super interesting. And actually, again, many people could get that meaning with just through like laughing, which is super powerful actually. And I think that fighting or confronting a challenge through play rather than with guns, I feel that is more powerful at the end. So I think that memes are something very powerful and nice. Besides that, to go back to Degens Cypherpunks, I feel personally that cypherpunks were trying to confronting, or let's say redistributing power, because the power structures that they were seeing at the time, projecting to the future, were like a scary dystopian scenario that actually happened 100%, so they were right. But they were confronting actually socio-political system, financial system, and of course in the digital dimension. I want to bring here an example, because actually I feel that we should address Degen, not just in crypto, like we all are so much focused on crypto, about crypto, but Degens and Cypherpunks, you can find it also beyond crypto, you know? And what Cypherpunks were challenging, were trying to break some loops that are continuously reiterating and actually ate the shit out of crypto. Which are, for example, I was mentoring one of the top tier university in Italy, people doing a master in decentralizing governance, innovative startups, disruptive technologies, and they were coming super nice people, coming super committed. Yeah, we want to do this project, blah 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 blah. And when you were like, okay, what's your aim? I want to do exit, you know, blah blah blah, because my teacher said this and that. Okay, but why are you doing this? They didn't have the why. They didn't care about what they were doing. They were just aiming for what our social, political, economical, financial system teach us since when we are in high school. And I felt this personally because I studied economics, and it took me years to understand that Silicon Valley was not the best things ever that could happen to me. So I think that cypherpunks should face and break these loops regarding like how you and where you invest money, how you bring values to younger generations, how you actually, through thoughtful leadership, through practical examples, you can actually show them that it's possible to invest, to do a company, to do whatever you want in an alternative way, in a better way. And I think that here crypto is a powerful tool to do this in many different ways in the digital dimension. So actually I would approach Cypherpunk and Degens seeing this in a broader way, again, so that more people would actually understand how to shift from Degen to Cypherpunk in terms of how you approach your work, commitment in society. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that framing, actually. It's really interesting because, like, if you're providing the why, right? So degens are raw, untapped energy. You know, they're not really caring about the permanence of their actions that they have on the space and what happens. They're just in it for the kind of like pump and dump, and you know the experience that comes with that. But on-chain reputation is something that exists. It's there. And if you provide a why and a strong motivation for what it means to leave a legacy behind or be part of something bigger, that's a really quick way, I think, to get people to pay attention. When I think of my why, I would love to hear what you guys think. But when I think of my why, just because of what I think about, I guess, in general, for me, I see that privacy is really important to preserve agency, not just because AIs are going to feed us information, but there is this convergence towards putting technology in our bodies, in our brains, and what happens when you give your iPhone read-write access to your thoughts. That should be illegal. Or at least, if not illegal, we should have technology that prevents it from being something that should be illegal.
Yeah, and also I think it helps to frame it kind of also positively, kind of everything that privacy is the thing that preserves kind of your edge, your information edge, right? So in trading, why are you being successful in trade, or why a trader is successful is because they have some information that others don't have, right? So in that way, just adding to the importance of privacy from a business perspective, right, is essentially it protects the value of your trade, essentially. Yeah. So in that sense, it's not just like something nice to have or something that is like we should have as a society, but essentially it protects your trade secrets a bit, so that in that way it has a really positive business value in a way. Yeah.
I think for me, maybe we can we start closing. We have 5 minutes still, as long as we want. I mean, for me, I think so I was looking through my phone because I took a picture of this the back of this girl's shirt. She was working at a crypto conference, I won't say which one. But on the back of it, it said, "Wealth in Web3 wrapped in privacy." Money laundering, no? It was like, to me, it was like really incredible how it was twisted, like using the term privacy, but specifically for like keeping your wealth, you know, or whatever. And doing money laundering, essentially, is what they were advertising so publicly. Of course, this is like, you know, this is crypto, and I guess there's a lot of people who are into that. I guess maybe I'm less so, but I guess one of the things that I'm interested in, or the only way that I would feel comfortable in saying that, like, yes, we've reached a cypherpunk future or something like that, is one where we can say that privacy has been achieved for people and not for capital. And that's something that is like maybe a more difficult job, but probably is one that is more, will give the actual benefits that everyone thinks that privacy will give. So yeah, I don't know what, when you guys, is that something you guys agree with, or do you think, or are you guys like pro money laundering?
Not pro money laundering, but I think it always helps to think in this kind of information symmetry or information asymmetry, and sometimes we need to have information symmetry. Although oftentimes, per default, I think we should have information symmetry, that everyone has kind of the same access. But then in some other instances, we need to preserve sort of the information asymmetry, but not unfair information asymmetry, where essentially if somebody worked hard for some information and data, they should be the one benefiting from that information, and then that should be protected. Yeah.
Can I comment on that really quick? Yeah. I think that's interesting, but I think that's assuming like a controlled closed system approach where there's only so much information available, and so you're configuring information asymmetry to drive like, you know, innovation and all that. I think if we treat it from like a thermodynamic approach where information asymmetry is available, like it's just like there always will be information asymmetry if we just expand our horizons enough. But if we seek information symmetry on faster timescales, then we can actually innovate more quickly and the market can be driven more efficiently, is what I don't know, that's like really heady and like, but.
I think that opening up the access to some tools that as of now, just who has money and power can use, and giving this to the public is something that I like, totally. And all this bullshit around, you know, terrorists and stuff is not what scares me. Because if you look at the amount of money that has been laundered by whatever, drug dealers, politicians, mafia, whatever, nowadays, every day, through banks, actually. The amount of, just to be a little bit politically correct here, is not, you know, even comparable to what has been done through crypto or other technologies and tools. And I feel that the benefit that the broader society could have with these tools is a way more important than this, like, you know, whatever Koreans want to money laundering. I won't say this, but I'm for free markets and opening access to these tools.
So I think like, you know, one of the biggest challenges in like privacy tech that I see is we spend a lot of time in academia in this space. I feel like every other week there's like a new block derivative white paper that comes out to talk about like some new way to do like a folding scheme that like is so esoteric that maybe like 10 people who read the white paper would understand in the first place. And I would love to just see like more just general applications that are being built that have like very simple privacy enhancing functionality. Even things that are like simple, like a way to on-ramp and off-ramp into maybe a private Zcash address or something like this, right? It doesn't have to be, you know, fucking crazy. Like we can do just simple stuff, right? You know, a crawl, walk, run theory. You know, when it comes to like just end user applications, we're definitely still barely in the crawl phase, and that would be my answer to like how do we like, I don't know, accomplish the cypherpunk dream, I guess, right? Which I think was kind of quasi what your question was.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I don't even know what time I'm supposed to end the panel, to be honest. Is it time for me to end the panel, PG?
Yeah, let's end the panel. We have a little surprise for you all.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your thoughts on Degens and Cypherpunks. I disagree with some of the things said, but I respect your opinions. And I won't report you to the authorities.
So, I ask you to not leave because actually we now have a little surprise for you. It will be very quick. I am introducing here actually a living meme. I lately call him Super Saiyan of Love. He's a super nice human being, close friend, core contributor of Web Privacy Now. He was involved in a lot of super nice initiatives in crypto and beyond in the last 40, maybe even 50 years, I guess. His name is Michael Parenti. He's gonna read Exiled Surfer in Twitter. We call him Elixir because I will explain this one-to-one if you want. And actually, he's gonna read this Ethereum Cypherpunk transition manifesto that we lately written down, which is actually a collection of practical takes about how we can help each other making better questions and having, again, a practical impact on how to transition Degens into Cypherpunk and how to make Ethereum, let's say Cypherpunk again, whatever, let's say focusing on values, having an impact. Yeah, I don't want to make it too long. Let's enjoy this video, and then maybe I will tell you some more about this manifesto.
Hello, Bangkok. Exiled Surfer here to share with you the Ethereum Cypherpunk transition. Meow, meow, meow. Ethereum is more than just a protocol, it's a cultural movement. Millions of people educate, research, code, fundraise, and spread the message of decentralization in a broad, impactful sense. Whether one calls it Web3 or society in the digital age, Ethereum's cypherpunk culture should produce an actionable path for the liberated future in equilibrium between social, political, and technological needs. So I'm going to cover those 3 points: social, political, and technological. Social. Privacy is the non-negotiable principle for any free society. We should focus on empowering self-sovereign individuals with human-friendly P2P technologies. We should support and promote positive and constructive communication as an alternative to polarized, stiff, and pessimistic thinking. We should seek the right incentives to unite and cooperate for the common good. We should embrace interdisciplinarity as the key to have a real impact in the world by exchanging knowledge, tools, and vision with social scientists, ethicists, designers, activists, artists, and other non-tech people. Number 2, political. Privacy is the reason why crypto has been developed in the first place. We need to protect freedom of speech and freedom after speech, both in code. We need to promote global collaboration to overcome state agendas, imperialistic desires, ecological blindness, and surveillance capitalism. We need to uphold open source culture and distribute software for free. We need to host events that incorporate crypto founding principles and educate the community. Number 3, technological. Robust privacy practices balance power between individuals and the state or corporations. Crypto should stand for both cryptography and crypto economics. It should prioritize accessible privacy-enhancing tools. It should cooperate more with developers from open source culture and internet freedom movements. And most of all, it should demand privacy by design. Now, this socio-techno-political movement is deeply connected to both global and local dimensions. It's woven into the relationships between individuals, communities, and states. We've been incredibly successful at putting our footprint into the world. We haven't been so successful at convincing the world that our way is the better way. So I hope everybody's going to have a great time at the Ethereum Cypherpunk Congress in Bangkok. Shout out to all my friends and colleagues and peers and amazing people that are there. I wish I could be there with you. I'm stuck here in Vienna, but reaching you via video. Have a great conference and a great week at DevCon.
This is actually a collective statement, so any feedback is welcome. You can give it to us through real life, through Twitter, our channels, email, whatever you want. I would like to thank you all for coming. I know we are all tired, so I will be very quick in just telling you that we are throwing a rave, a Cypher rave tonight from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. till 4 a.m. We are going to have 10 DJs, 2 rooms, a very nice sound system, DJs that played at the Burning Man in Berlin, resident in very popular clubs. So drinks, of course, free drinks. There is open bar. There is already amazing beer. I just tasted them. They have amazing session IPA, double APAs. Please just reach them through this door. And what can I say? I'm truly amazed by the people that came today. Because actually this is a very important stepstone for us as a community to come together, to meet in real life, and to talk about the values that are at the cornerstone of this movement. So thank you all for coming, for joining, for participating, and see you tonight and at future events.